and a happy Friday to all. It is a very special Hawaiian t-shirt edition of the program. Barn Burner presentation of Bet365 live from somewhere with rich mahogany in Penticton.
And throw pillows.
And throw pillows. Yes, show that off, could you? It's very artsy.
Beautiful throw pillows. We should get some for that stupid sofa we have.
Yeah, Jack's always passing out here after you're getting all banged up in Marta Loop. We could use a few throw pillows here. Maybe just throw that in your backpack, like the pillows at the old shop. Remember that?
I can see. Yeah, I can see if I could rifle one of those. I'm an expert at it.
That's right. It's sticky fingers, right?
Yeah, I got it.
iPads at the Flames poker tournament, the pillows.
It's just laying around.
Rap sheet growing here. Not only is our program a presentation of Bet365, where you should, go get the app and use the promo code NATION. Never ordinary, Bet365. But also, we can get you involved in the program with the Super Chat supporting the Youth Centers of Calgary. Great place for kids in high-risk areas to have a place to go after school, whether that's hanging out with pals, learning an instrument, a warm meal, playing sports, reading a book, some quiet time, somewhere safe to be before mom and dad get home from work. We're happy to support the Youth Centers of Calgary. Rhett, it is a Calgary Flames game day, and we do have some breaking news.
Ooh, you don't have the button, though, to hit the excitement button.
Yeah, do you have the excitement button, Jack? You got anything?
Come on,
there?
Jack.
Close. Okay, we'll take it.
Sure.
Leveling up. They just added a man. They just added a man.
I got another life.
Dryden Hunt has been recalled from the Calgary Wranglers. He's actually had a pretty deadly season, Rhett. 48 points in 48 games. I suppose let's get right to it. It'll be our opening statements from McLeod Law. Call Peter Klein at 403-254-3864 or visit them at mcleod-law.com. Also on social media at McLeod Law LLP. Of course, Peter is the go-to guy for personal injury, but also if your disability insurance claim, you're getting screwed around, your long-term disability insurance company refusing to pay, get Peter on the case. He'll straighten them out for you. It's the benefits, the disability benefits that you paid for and you deserve. He'll get you your peace of mind back, the peace of mind you paid for. Also, of course, I'm proud to be in the community and Calgary. You're not calling someone at a call center in Oakville, Ontario. They know the city. They know how we roll out here.
What about parking tickets? Can they?
Ooh, I don't know that that's Peter's specialty.
Peter.
Have you been framed? Or did you just not pay for the parking?
It was a total setup. Pay for parking lot. Go in, you park, and then there was a handful of reserved spots. And no one's in there. There's no buildings around. There's a handful of reserved, not marked, other than on the main. Oh, anyway. Felt like I got screwed. There was some shady business.
In Penticton or in Calgary?
In Penticton.
Okay. So now you get the question is, does the long arm of the law reach you in Calgary from Penticton if you just hightail it out of town?
I'll be changing my license plate.
That's right. Oh. McLeod Law, that's all I'm going to tell you. They'll know more than
Peter
Jack
didn't. Yeah, Peter didn't give me that advice, but that's That's my own advice. I can change.
But you do feel like you were a victim of a sting operation. That's correct.
I do. I really do. These damn parking spots.
Just all right. He's falling right.
And then this morning I was cordoned off in a parking lot. I had to move some gates to get out of there. Like, geez, come on, people. Just trying to park.
How's the hockey? Everyone having fun?
Hockey's good. Lots of drama. Reffing is just atrocious.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Of course.
Province to province.
Yeah.
So bad everywhere.
But yeah, if you wanted to sit in a rink and watch hockey all day, you could see some good hockey.
All right.
And I do believe I think the Penticton V's play tonight. I heard your buddy on the radio this morning, the GM.
Freddie.
Fred.
Nice. Love Fred. His first year in Penticton was my first year. We had 4 incredible seasons there. One in the old building, which is good for a walk around. You got to go to Memorial and walk around. It's unbelievable. And then the new rink, of course, is state of the art, and we all know it from the Young Stars tournament that's hosted there a bunch.
Yeah, the new rink's quite nice.
Quite sexy.
Bragging about how many banners they've won in a row out here.
They're doing well. They're going to the Western League next year, I think is the word.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a tougher battle to win, I think. Let's get to the Dreger Hunt news. 4 McLeod Law opening statements. Flames, we knew they were going to be in one here. Connor Zary's was going to get suspended, and of course he did. It's 2 games for Zary. And so welcome back up Dreger Hunt, who I will tell you is the best Dreger Hunt he could be. And that is a guy that is a very good American leaguer and a fringes of the NHL type guy if you're in a pinch, which the Flames are right now. Michael Backlund hurt. We haven't got a update of any sort of we're not really sure yet. We're still working on the time frame, but safe to say I don't think he'll be playing tonight. And you're going to be going at least 2 games with no Zary. They need someone that can play the middle and or move Yegor Sharangovich, who's been awful, to the middle, and then call up someone to play the wing.
Hunter's going to hunt. He's going to do his best hunt.
Yes. Point per game in the A. We'll take not getting scored on in the NHL. Do that for us.
Yeah. One
Good
or the
kid,
other.
Calgary roots. And has had a great year in the American League. So congrats to him. This is how we're looking at things heading into tonight's action against a team that's very good down the middle and has made a lot of changes. We'll get to the Avs in a moment. I think you're going to leave the Kadri line alone. The question will be, do you slide Frost up to the Coleman line? Do you put Sharangovich in there? I don't think you're going to see Dreger Hunt airlifted into the top 9 here. I really don't.
My gut tells me put Sharangovich in there because you got to do something with him. He's got to break out of this funk or put him in the stands again. Like he's got to start contributing, and maybe a change of position, scenery will be hopeful. I don't know.
Living off his worst game of the year, which is saying something. He did not create a scoring chance. He was not on the ice for a scoring chance. He had about a tiny little sliver of the cake of the chances to get goals, most against him, none for him. It was an awful night. Yeah. Change of scenery, whatever. I got a Lego video for him. Maybe that'll help. I don't know.
Oh,
the dude looks lost.
He does
look lost. Does look Lego. Hey, Lego's cool.
Lego's
whatever.
Good. I don't know anything about
I just hope
Lego.
you're not staying up till 4 a.m. playing Lego, not getting enough sleep.
Just make sure
you're dreaming about Lego. Dream about hockey.
No Lego unless you play well. That's the new rule. Coach has to implement.
I like that. You got to incent him to play well.
Yes.
He's got the Titanic one. Is there a Death Star? What's bigger than the Titanic Lego? We'll get you that if you just
whatever you need. Yeah. You put together a good week of games, shoot the puck, get some goals. You're going to have a new Lego delivered right to your door.
Yeah.
Does that sound cheeky and rude of us to?
No, I think his play has been bad. And so the things we're going to say about his play is that they are bad. And if we poke fun at a guy for liking Lego, it was cool when he was playing well. It will be cool when he's playing well again. Now it's pissing us off because he's playing like shit.
Yeah. It's a good point. That's a good point. Okay. Got to be fair. We were happy to praise him last year.
Yeah. I mean, look, he had 30 goals last year. I don't know where that guy is. All the tools are still there. And he's got that brand new huge extension that looks awful at the moment. But I think we've seen this. The first year's on new deals. Sometimes guys feel extra pressure. Sometimes they stray from their training plans because they're so excited and celebrating, whatever it is. I think the truth's probably in the middle. I don't think you can put him down for 30 every year. I don't think he's going to be this bad either. It's too. How could a guy go from 30 to this?
Yeah, he should be noticeable at least. And he had such a good shot. Just use it on the power play even. Like, come on.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that aside, thoughts on the Connor Zary suspension? We watched the play yesterday. Needless is the word that keeps coming up.
Yeah, that was deserved. It's 2 games. I'm fine with it. You're going to go take a shot at a guy's head. That's what you're going to get. And he didn't have to. And I don't blame him for not going after the guy and give him a little shot. But in the back of the ear, probably not the spot to pick.
Yeah, it doesn't need to be your elbow, and it doesn't need to be on the head. Like, go up and shove a guy. You want to get the fight? Go get it. That's fine.
You could give him a shot. You could have given him a little cross check in the elbow. You could have a 2-minute penalty max. Whatever.
So now, in the game that he literally gets bumped up to eat all the Backlund minutes, he's going to be taken for 2. This will be a stiff test tonight against a very good hockey club in the Colorado Avalanche. I was looking, Rhett, because they said before the trade deadline, we got to prove to our GM that we're worthy of an upgrade. Like, they weren't playing that great Here's what they've done just lately. 5-1 win over the Devils, 5-2 win over the Wild, 4-1 win over Pittsburgh, 7-3 win over the Sharks, 7-4 win over the Leafs, 3-0 win over the Blackhawks, and they just lost in a shootout to the Wild when they peppered Gustafsson, but lost 2-1. So that's 6-0-1 in the last 7. That's good.
That's real good. And if you're picking a team to come out of the West and you wanted to pick the Avs, I'd be happy to listen.
Yeah, you can make a great case. I mean, they certainly are playing well right now. And for a team that has totally overhauled their roster, they're good down the middle. I don't know that we would have said that. Their second, third, and fourth line centers have all been added this year. There was Jack Drury in the Rantanen deal, comes in to play fourth line center. Brock Nelson, they add for a first, and Callum Ritchie and some other parts with the Islanders. And Charlie Coyle came over from Boston, one of the last minute deals at the deadline as well. Like, they've literally overhauled 3 of their 4 centers, both of their goalies, 2 defensemen, and Natchez and VC they've added as well. Chris McFarland has gone completely like chainsaw, sledgehammer on this roster because it wasn't deep enough.
Wow, and you got McKinnon, driving, and McCarr there, where you're like, we can't sacrifice seasons with these guys. We need to do stuff to give a squad a chance to win. And it's all justified. He's done a good job of it.
Yeah, no, I definitely think everything slots better there. Something about Casey Middlestad wasn't working there. We heard his name in rumors all year. They gave up a pretty impressive young player in Bowen Byram to get him. And they're like, that's fine. We'll just move him out and go get other pieces.
On. Yep.
Yeah. And you're right. You've got McKinnon and McCarr under contract, well below market rates. You can't let a season go by. So they swap out both goalies and have just picked away over this roster, slightly upgrading it all over to the point where you're right. If you were to say who's the favorite to come out of the West and someone said Colorado, you're like, yeah, sure. Maybe Dallas, maybe Colorado, maybe Vegas, maybe Edmonton.
Yeah, you can argue other teams, but they are certainly right there with them.
Yeah.
And I don't think, we're talking about tonight's game, even with Backlund and Zeri in the lineup, tough matchup still, right? Like, it's
very much
you're definitely worse off with those guys out, but regardless, it was going to be a tough battle.
Yeah, no question. It's you talk about the strength of the Avs, that's going to be right up against the weakness of the Flames here. Dustin Wolf has to be your best player if you have a chance tonight. That's sort of my thought on this. And he has been named the starter. No surprise there. Yeah, this is an interesting litmus test because I think everyone's expectations are very low.
The one nice thing for a Huska, and it's odd to think, you're not trying to score.
No.
It is 100%. Don't let the other team score. If we happen to get one, awesome.
Yeah.
You're not playing run and gun. You're not pushing for goals. The game plan is, okay, let's everyone back 1-2-2. They got to come through all 5 of us. Wolfie makes some saves.
I think he'll have everyone's attention for whatever notes he's got on the whiteboard today. No one is thinking the Avs are ripe for the picking right now. They're on an absolute heater, and they've just upgraded their whole roster. A reminder, Canada, your favorite contest is back. It's roll up the rim, roll up to win. I guess the rim they've even taken out of this slogan because you can do it on the app, of course. Roll up to win is back at Tim Hortons. That means you could win millions of amazing prizes. Millions! Just the swipe of a thumb, all you need to do on the app. Imagine turning your routine Tim's run into an unforgettable vacation with Sell-Off Vacations, a $1,000 Rakuten cash prize, or a all-new, all-electric 2025 VW ID Buzz. I like the look of that Volkswagen. Even the simple joy of winning a free coffee or donut can make anyone's day, but you've only got until March 23rd, so open up that Tim's app and get rolling. This is our game, Canada, so don't let this chance at millions of amazing prizes pass you by. Play Roll Up to win on the Tim's app now. Rules apply. Canada only. No purchase necessary. Visit Tim's app for details. And of course, we've seen they still give you the cup if you're like, well, I don't know the app. There's some cups around. I didn't know they were
got a lot of those rip out tear things at the house. The
just sitting in the console of the truck or ready
to go. Yeah, we're loading up one day. Just road
Let's
trip.
go. Load up. We're all going. Things have not been going well for the Edmonton Oilers. We talk about the Avs hitting on all cylinders.
Oh, shucks.
The Florida Panthers, they at post deadline, they look pretty darn good. Tampa, it's like, well, that's an impressive team. Dallas, geez, yeah. Should we dip our toe into the fan base of the Edmonton Oilers and see how things are after last night's 3-2 loss in New Jersey?
Oh,
because
no.
Jack couldn't sleep last night. He was stewing. I don't know what he's worried about.
I was on Twitter all night. This was internet gold.
And so I wake up to like a billion of these types. This is our pal Tyler Yaremchuk from Oilers Nation. This shit is so bleak. Depth players can't do jack fuck. Always on different lines. Star players more or less just coast unless there's an immediate scoring chance. The goaltending can't steal them a game. There's just nothing here. Seemingly zero give a fuck. Our pet heads are falling off. No swagger, no heart. When was the last time there was a scrum where somebody looked remotely pissed off, with the exception of someone slamming a gate at the end of a game? They're 3 wins in their last 11, if you're trying to put the pieces together here.
Is this a case of a team that has a bunch of top-end talent and they're waiting to flip a switch for the playoffs? Like,
Let's keep moving. Yeah, there's lots here, and we'll get through all of it and react, because I think there's absolute validity to what you're saying. There's also other issues. This is Mark Spector, who's covered the team for a long time. Chris Knobloch has gone where all Oilers coaches go eventually, playing 97 and 29. That's McDavid and Draisaitl all night while everyone else sits and watches. It hasn't worked. It won't work. It isn't working. Very angry. They'll beat LA in round 1 and get their ass kicked by Vegas this year. Such an uninspiring team playing a very uninspiring game. That's from @Shay_Nuge93. More reaction last night from Captain Jack at Oilers Jack. Knobloch, it's been a blast, but I have a feeling we're about to find out who coached Connor McDavid and Pee Wee pretty soon. This team doesn't even deserve to be in the playoffs this year. Pathetic showing night after night. That's from @SchmittyG. SchmittyG. Oilers Daily with this. I do not see how this team wins a round of playoff hockey this year. Just mind-boggling stuff. They have the worst record in the NHL over this run, Rhett. It is not good. Look, we all know Stuart Skinner is shit, but is Ryan Nugent-Hopkins going to show up? When is the whole third line going to show up? When is someone other than Draisaitl in the forward core going to score? These questions need to be asked and questions need to be answered. That from @DHockey13. Oh, there's more. Okay, thanks, Jack. The Edmonton Oilers outshot New Jersey 19-6 in the third and gave up 2 goals on those 6 shots. Not a goalie problem, though, right? Maybe if the team holds their opponents to 4 shots a period, they have a chance to win. This is from @BMAX644. I'm so done with this Oilers season. We're totally a first-round exit team. Forget about the offseason and trade moves. This whole roster is a failure. It keeps going. This season is on bleeping management. Absolute bleeping bleep from this bleeping bleep goaltending. You can't get less shots against or 900 save percentage. Single-handedly losing us games. So angry. That from @97 Orange Crush 29. And this one really is the icing on the cake. Holloway 21 goals, Fogle 19 goals, McLeod 14 goals. All players let go and or traded, not matched on offer sheets by the Oilers. The list then goes on. Skinner 11, Arvidsson 8, Henrique 8, Brown 8, Podkolzin 6, Janmark 2. This is the darkest timeline. That from @Elksherd. Or Elks Herd, I suppose.
I think it's
so that's what Jack was doing all night. Jack, you want anything else to add?
We should keep it going. We can just roll it all day, probably. There's probably more out there.
Oh, there's hundreds.
I do like this. I like this one because it's real. It's like, how do you make this decision?
They got older and slower.
Yeah, and on purpose. On purpose.
By design.
Connor Brown.
July 1, they laid out their priorities, and it was guys that we all knew were on the back nine. One that had just been bought out by the worst team in the league over the last decade.
Yes, we can't play him on our team who haven't made the playoffs in 14 seasons. We should get that guy.
Jack, how's our chat responding to the Oiler context.
They love us.
Is that right? Because I know there are Oilers fans that walk among. I'm moving away from my chair to pull the comments up on my screen here. Hang on.
They're saying, pump this into my veins. They love it. Like smash.
Throw us a like.
This is a great Oiler hour.
This Oiler hour. That's right. No, listen, I understand. I catch a period or here or there. I'm not a huge Oilers guy. When it's the playoffs, I see more of them. I know that. This is a rough stretch, but does it mean they can't get their shit together, Rhett? Like, what do you see with this group? We all would have said at the beginning of the year, it doesn't matter what happens in the regular season. It's all about the playoffs. The last year of cheap Draisaitl and cheap Bouchard. And yet, if you said the regular season didn't matter, look at all this reaction, this vitriol.
I think they can turn it on, and I think that's what they're waiting for. The problem is it's not a guarantee. Like, it's in rooms across the league. It's how there's not a switch. You don't just get to turn it on. You have to be playing well. And the other problem is what Spector said, and all the Oilers coaches over the last however long have done it. It's not going well because the roster's not constructed correctly. You've got a defenseman who's supposed to be a Norris Trophy candidate that doesn't appear to give a shit about anything other than his commitment to winning is zero, in my opinion. And I'm with you. I don't watch the Oilers on a consistent basis. But when the Bouch bomb, if you watch him and your 11-year-old goes, how come that guy's not trying, Dad? Something's off, right?
There's some clips that are pretty damning of him looking as if he's wandering aisle 6 at the grocery store, not playing a hockey game. And he has had awesome playoffs here, but it's an ugly stretch for him.
You can't. My take on him is you can't rely on him to care enough to help you win. Anyway, so if he's waiting to turn the switch on, great. And if you can, good for Oilers fans. What Spector's saying here is correct. Even if they get in, and even if they turn it up, if you're playing, I go back to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals against Florida. These guys were exhausted because they had to play so much.
Yeah.
You, as good as you are, if you're playing 30 minutes a night as a forward, it's, what is it, March, April, May. Like, you can't do it forever.
Into the end of June. Yeah.
They're going to run out of gas. They won't, right? And so, best player or not, if you've got no one else to put on the ice and these are the only guys you can rely on, you're going to be in big trouble.
Very quiet year from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. A huge step back offensively from Zach Hyman. We knew there'd be some after we nearly got to 60. Darnell Nurse has actually been okay, but Bouchard's taken a big step back from last year. The goaltending has been horseshit, Rhett. And we've talked about it. Every year we watch them move a lot of assets to get more depth forwards. They gave up a first for Henrique last year. He's got, 6-8 goals?
It is effing ridiculous what they've done. It's ridiculous. It is effing
every
ridiculous.
Year we say, geez, they should go get a guy that could push Jack Campbell. Not Pickard, who could come up and get you a spot start here or there, but someone that literally will take the job away from him because he's better than him if Skinner isn't playing well.
Don't let the guys go that you had that were part of your run last year and felt important, leave for nothing and bring in a bunch of dusters and trade firsts for guys that Connor Brown, you brought it up 2 years ago, is because he's buddies with McDavid. Is that why he's there?
There's a lot of ties to McDavid. The president of the team's his old agent. His head coach was the guy that coached him in junior.
Out of the way.
Connor Brown was his teammate. I get that, these are not bad at people, but we'll have to dive a little deeper. Do we have Dreger? Is that right? You're giving me the thumbs up? Okay, let's get to that. We go to our Crystal Waters. It's your crystal clear choice for residential plumbing, heating, and cooling services. The hotline will be joined by Darren Dreger in just mere moments. With over 23 years of experience and 30,000 jobs completed, they're striving to deliver premium quality equipment and services, focusing on safety, comfort, and product longevity. They want to be the guardians of your home's mechanical heart. Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating is your crystal clear choice for home comfort. Call them 403-219-4100 or check them out at crystalclearcalgary.com. We welcome in the TSN Insider and our Friday buddy, Darren Dreger. We just went through about 1,000 angry tweets about the Edmonton Oilers, who have won 3 times in their last 11. And for whatever reason, last night was the night where a lot of people just snapped, including beat writers, including people that cover that team on our network, including people that write for papers. What are you seeing and hearing around this Oilers club who have been the worst team in the NHL over the last little bit, while we've seen these other playoff contenders like Florida, Dallas, Colorado crank up their game?
Well, what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing remarkably is a lack of speed when I watch the Oilers play. And, that's Connor McDavid excluded, of course. But, then, I heard you guys coming into the segment here. You look at the players who are no longer there, right? You look at Ryan McLeod, the guy can skate. Holloway, kid can flat out skate. Warren Foegele, I had no problem with Foegele. He's a bigger body, but he can move up and down the ice. Cody Ceci, probably played some of his best hockey on the blue line of the Edmonton Oilers. Now you watch him play in Dallas. He's a pretty good piece. He's a real good piece for the Dallas Stars. Just the collection of players that aren't playing in Edmonton, a lot of that is related to the salary cap issue, of course. And, they got poached by the St. Louis Blues via the offer sheet. So I can appreciate all of that. I do. But then you have to do the math. And the math sees what you brought in. And now you've got Victor Arvidsson, who I thought he was better than this. I thought he'd be a real good ad. He's a hard worker. All of those things, I thought it'd be a compliment. And it just doesn't seem to be working out for him with the Oil. Jeff Skinner, I think we knew what to expect there. You'd get a pop of offense here or there. Defensively, with all due respect, I think he's been porous or a liability most of his career, right? So the writing was on the wall there. But and for a team that is right up against that salary cap, you just can't miss. You can't take, especially when you're letting good pieces go out the door that in some respects were homegrown within the organization, and you knew. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, and that's a tough fix, So they bring in Wallman, an effective defenseman, not a bad player, not a bad piece, right? And Trent Frederick, well, he's a good player too, but he's not healthy. And when he gets healthy, sure, he's going to help. But that's all of what we're seeing now. The true indictment, though, frankly, fellas, comes from within. And I'm not going to identify who's saying this. It's like they're playing lifeless hockey right now. And maybe that's excusable when you're coming out of a Game 7 Stanley Cup final loss, devastated, and a summer of healing has just scabbed it over, but really hasn't healed, right? So you go through the doldrums early in the year. Man, we're at the end here. We're in the final push of the regular season, and they're dealing with this stuff. So I hate the reality is obvious. If the fix is there, it's internal or it's not. And if it's not, then Stan Mullman's got a big problem.
Rhett, you tell us what you're seeing with Bouchard, and we'll get Dreger to react to that. Because when he says lifeless, like Bouchard is a poster boy.
And that's what I'm wondering, if the guys are sitting on the bench watching a guy that's supposed to be I don't know if he's a Norris Trophy, but he's supposed to be a top guy. And he's supposed to be better. And he's good. He's a focal point on that decor at minimum. And I'm sorry, there's no heartbeat. Like I said it earlier. I don't watch the Oilers religiously. It's not I don't follow them with passion like a lot of people do. But I don't have to see that he doesn't compete in areas where wins and losses add up. Right? Like it's pretty flat. I think it has to be infectious in that room, and infectious might be the wrong word, but
contagious.
Contagious is the word. Yes.
What are you seeing with Bouchard specifically, Dregs?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what Rhett just said, and we used to reference the Bouch bomb, right? And that was that slapper from the point, and normally it was on the power play. Well, now the Bouch bomb is not that anymore. It's like an ill-timed blunder. We saw it at the start of the week against Buffalo, and you see it too often. And now let's bring it back into the cap era, because normally that's where you have to go when, again, you're talking about trying to change things in the longer term. So they've got Darnell Nurse locked down at a big number, 9+. Bouchard's a little different. He's a restricted free agent, but there's rumblings of big numbers expected from his side of the negotiation. Not that long ago, maybe a year ago, you're sitting there going, okay, this kid's going to get paid, and deservedly so. He's going to get paid. But this year, the body of the work doesn't represent those kind of dollars. And, especially when you've got a decent defenseman in Darnell Nurse, but how can you have all of that money tied up? And then look, I follow social media to a point, but I'm looking at some of, the media, maybe not necessarily locally, but around the league. And I was, in fact, I was asked about it this morning on a radio program about Sam Bennett and whether or not he could be a fit. And you saw the reporting out of Edmonton that they kicked tires on Mikko Rantanen with the Carolina Hurricanes before he went to Dallas. Well, how are all those pieces going to fit? I mean, so you land one of those forwards. Well, that tells me what they're going to do with Evan Bouchard. And it's not pay him $10 or $11 million annually.
But
it's
they should
move him out. And based on his play, you're right. I mean, how can you? You can't.
And to defend Bouchard, he's come off back-to-back playoffs where he's been exceptional. He's 1.5 per game as a blue liner, rare.
Yeah,
he's still a lot of the metrics like his skill set, but there's just too many plays where he's not trying defensively. Like he's still a top 5 guy on clean zone exits in the entire league. That's one of the best things you can do as a defenseman is come out of your own zone without turning it over. He's having a rough stretch, but I wonder when they add Jake Wallman, a left shot, who I believe has term left on his deal, is that we're done with Bouch and he's going to be our Ekholm left side guy, or am I off base here? Because I think Bouch is a righty, but I don't know. Like I'm trying to.
How do you fix the roster construction? You have to pay McDavid. You have to pay Draisaitl. You want to pay those.
Draisaitl's raise comes in next year at $14 million.
But the rest of it, I think they've fumbled and thought they were closer, and they tried to stop gaps and fill some holes with older guys and let other guys. It doesn't feel like it's Colorado we talked about 20 minutes ago. It feels like they have slotting correct, right? If that's a stupid term we have to use. The Oilers to me is we got 2 really good players. This guy. Let's get this guy. And it's and oftentimes when they go get those guys, dumb media people like us go, that doesn't seem to be the right. I don't know, right? Like, honestly, when is the last? I mean, Wallman. Okay, that's a good trade, and I think Frederick's a good trade. So maybe I'm being over analytical of stuff. But Arvidsson, I thought he'd be better too. But where's that tweet from somebody that had the list of guys that left and the list of guys they brought in? It's not even close, and you can look at it as people that follow hockey and go, "Well, that doesn't make any sense."
No, and then you look at the arms race that is the Western Conference, and you are talking about a team that came, within a whisker, a period or two of hoisting the Stanley Cup in the Stanley Cup final, and yet you look at the Dallas Stars. Undeniably, that is a much better team. They were a better team before Mikko Rantanen, showed up on the scene. I mean, the trade that they made for Granlund and Ceci, I mean, that was crafty work by Jim Nill because it plugged 2 significant holes. And then you add Rantanen on top of that. And then, to Colorado, I mean, Chris McFarland and Joe Sakic were all over it at the start of the year. Didn't like their goaltending. Didn't think that their goaltending was going to withstand the push throughout the season, let alone get to the playoffs. So what do? They rebuild their goaltending. Not 1 guy, 2 guys. I mean, it's ridiculous. And, Brock Nelson was available to everyone. Charlie Coyle, a real sneaky ad by the Colorado Avalanche. Sneaky ad, a real important bottom 6, can play in your top 6. Certainly was doing that with the Boston Bruins. So if Colorado can do that and Dallas can do that, Riley Smith was on the radar of the Edmonton Oilers. I know that. Lee ends up back in Vegas, a team that probably you're going to lock horns with. So you look around the West and you see all the improvements made. And I think the fan base is sitting there going, well, wait a minute. Like, again, Wallman fits into the bigger picture. So it's hard to be over critical of that. But trade deadline is a simple deadline. It's the point of when you can't make trades and bring roster players in after the fact. Doesn't mean you can't make trades before the deadline. Right. You've got all year long to address those issues, and they just didn't do it.
Okay, so 2 more and we'll move on. First off, they gave the huge vote of confidence, Stan Bowman and others, in Skinner and Pickard. Is that ill-advised based on what we've seen this year?
Well, I want to say no, it isn't, because my hesitation came in. Okay, well, you got to address at least one of the two issues. That's either your blue line or upgrade your goaltending so that you can work with your blue line, and the odd mistake or handful of mistakes in a game isn't going to capsize you, right? Because your goaltending has been upgraded. So I do like Jake Walman. I think once he gets settled in, and don't forget, you got to get him the TSN back in the mix. You bring him back into the fray, and that makes everyone better in that Oilers dressing room. So I'm okay with it. And okay, it's no different than firing a coach. When you're positionally changing a goaltender, John Gibson isn't better. I don't think. I honestly don't. I mean, he's hurt all the time. So yeah. I mean, is that an upgrade? And if it's not Gibson, then who is it? Who among the goaltending was available that was going to make them better? And they didn't see it. And I think Stan Bowman was honest in telling the media that they thought it was the body of the work, and it was more about the lack of commitment and the issues they've had with injuries, and all of that contributed to shoddy goaltending. But so I'm okay with that. I'd give them a pass because they improved in an area, one of the two areas they had to, and that was on that blue line.
For the last 3-4 years, it's been, okay, well, Leon's going to resign, Connor's going to resign. What's he watching and thinking about here? Because this is the July 1, they got to go to him and say, we're going to make you the highest paid player in the history of the sport. Like, we don't know how this is going to go. They could get playing well again and go to another cup final.
Yeah.
They could flame out in round 1, finally losing to the Kings. Like, we don't, there's a lot of outcomes here, but is there a world where Connor McDavid looks and says, there are other opportunities where I'm better positioned to win a cup than this after what we've seen?
Yeah, I mean, that world exists, only because, we don't know what he's thinking. I as the captain of the team, is he married yet, or his fiance? I see on social media that they're starting businesses in Edmonton. It feels like they're committed to the community in Edmonton. And the Oilers don't have a choice. I mean, whatever Connor wants to get paid, Connor is going to get paid. Whatever that percentage of the cap is, that's what he's going to get. But I would think no different than maybe he's already had conversations, in the past where he's going to want some specific direction, maybe not influence, but he's going to want to know what the plan is and probably provide his input as to what he thinks. But I'm not so sure that happens as much as you guys think now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that they're running to Connor and saying, hey, we have an opportunity to do this. What do you think? But I do think you're doing a disservice if you're not leaning on any captain in the National Hockey League, the leader of your room, to say, okay, am I missing something? Like, why is this team as lifeless as it appears that you are? And maybe that drifts into negotiations. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'd argue that it's been a decade of below average management that he's had to play with. And when we talk about this team, there's a lot of roster construction issues. He deserves better. I don't think you can say Connor McDavid didn't bring to the table what he was supposed to. I'd say the opposite about Seravalli. I know that there was some swings and misses with Ken Holland, also some wins. Summer of Jeff Jackson has looked miserable. Summer of Jeff was a disaster. He put himself in the spot to get offer sheeted, then made the room and didn't. We showed you the before and after of the guys that were there and then who they brought in. You definitely could build a strong case. They've done him dirty, not the opposite.
Yeah, but you could also look at it, do they get Zach Hyman, without the influence of Kenny Holland and everybody involved in that process? That Matthias Ekholm trade was a sneaky good trade.
Best deal.
So, I mean, they historically have added some pieces that did help the Oilers go as deep as they did last year, but that's not what we're talking about. I mean, you can't be measured by what you've done in the past and where you got to, because you didn't win the Stanley Cup, and that is the true measurement when you're talking about a top contending team and the best player on the planet in Connor McDavid. So it's impossible to say that Stan Bowman or management there is on the clock. And I got in trouble for saying that recently when I said the owner of the Edmonton Oilers is a very active and hands-on owner. I overstated. Well, I mean, there were people there. He's got his defenders in the market who didn't like the way that I positioned it. And I did exaggerate in saying, he calls 20 times a day or whatever. Well, he's involved heavily, but I understand that, and I applaud it and I support it because it's his billions of dollars that are being invested here.
His choice is right.
Hey, write all these checks and ignore everything that happens. That's how you should
trust us.
So I guess what I'm saying in a roundabout way is, and we can't predict what's going to happen. I mean, maybe they flip the switch and they find it in the final 10, 15 games of the regular season. Off they go. The playoffs goes perfect, and there they are in the Stanley Cup final again. If it goes the opposite direction, and I think it was Craig Button on our deadline day coverage who pulled out his matrix as it was positioned that day based on standings. And I think it was LA Edmonton in the first round. And I'm pretty sure Button predicted that LA would beat Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs. Well, if that were to happen, a first round exit, no matter who the Oilers play, okay, we're having a different conversation after that, because then the owner most definitely, I think, would demand some form of significant change, be it roster or otherwise.
Okay, well, that's we're done here in Calgary talking about our second favorite team, which is whoever's playing the Oilers and the pain that they feel. The main squad is dealing with some major center issues. Michael Backlund just announced minutes ago week, and you have Connor Zary, who immediately moved into Backlund's spot after the injury, suspended for a pair. This is a huge blow to a club that is holding on to the final wild card by a tiebreak. One fewer game played than the Canucks. What do you see happening in Calgary?
Well, I mean, the Backlund news is brutal for a variety of different reasons. And, I checked in before we launched the segment, and, obviously they're hopeful that he's back before the end of the regular season. But when you list week to week, all bets are off. I don't know the specifics of their injury. I mean, you guys have a pretty keen eye. Was it the hit on Mancini that did the damage? It appeared to be that. Anything from shoulder to wrist. So we'll see how that plays out. But it's a significant blow. But I mean, isn't it, the old next man up theory that has to be applied here? And, if it's Connor Zary post suspension, fine. He's capable of accepting that level of responsibility. What about Morgan Frost? That guy, what's your guys' view on his play overall since the trade with Philadelphia Flyers? I mean, he wanted to change. The contract negotiation wasn't going the way that maybe he wanted to, or that the Flyers wanted. Hence, he gets involved in a trade, and it's a fresh start. Looked pretty good right out of the gate. You could see some sparks, some pops, some jump, but I think it feels like you need a little bit more. So maybe this is opportunity for him to provide a little bit more.
Rhett, Frost thoughts?
I think you can see why the Flyers were willing to move away. That's how I think of Frost's play right now, where you're like, you could be really good, except you're not doing anything. So you have to accomplish something to prove that you're worth what you want to get paid. I can see why the Flyers moved away, but
Sorry, my bad. We got a little delay because Rhett's a province over, and he looks like he's on an Atari system today. Frost, he's they're giving him the ozone starts. They're sheltering him. Backlund's on, does all the heavy lifting. He's helped on zone entries on the power play. You see the hands, but it's time now. Backlund's out. Now you have to take some heavier minutes, and he has had some strong defensive metrics at times in his career. They're going to lean on him heavily. They got McKinnon, Nelson, Coyle, Drury down the middle. The 4 of the 5 best centers on the ice tonight are Avalanche players. They need Morgan Frost badly in the short term.
And again, he's capable of doing that, but Rhett nailed it. Like, when you look at the makeup of the Philadelphia Flyers, not to pile on Morgan Frost, I happen to like the kid a lot. It's a bit of a personal thing. My kid was drafted by the Sioux Greyhounds, and Morgan Frost, I believe, was captain at the time and was incredible to my kid at that level. So I've got a soft spot, and I want him to do well. But when he's brought into the organization in Calgary, man, it was basically a green light. Like, there's an opportunity here for you to put down roots. We're not going to worry about the contract right now, but just play your game. There's if John Tortorella has the shackles, well, you have to play defensively responsible, but we're going to give you a little bit more flexibility in our system here to evolve and develop. And I guess there's still time for that. So I'm not throwing this kid under the bus entirely. I'm just going to go back to how we started. You lose Michael Backlund, you're losing a little bit of everything that he can bring. So if you're not generating offense, if you're Morgan Frost, you better do something else that is going to separate you and make you a difference maker and help take up some of the slack that's left from not having the experience and the presence of Michael Backlund up the middle.
What have you seen from the Canucks? It was a banger of a game on Wednesday with, it's only a couple times a year will they see each other at the Saddledome. I was there. The place was jumping. Lots of Canucks fans. And if you're a Canucks fan, there's some inspiring things there. Elias Pettersson, first time in a long time, he looked like Elias Pettersson.
Yeah, Elias Pettersson. So Ray Ferraro obviously does those Canucks games, a lot of them. And we talked about Pettersson on the podcast. And Ray thought that might have been his best game. Might have been his best game of the year. And not just because he forces overtime with a huge goal, but just how he was engaged, just overall. And, it's the simple and the stupid and the silly things that you kind of notice. So he scores a tying goal. And for whatever reason, I'm drawn to the celebration, and he actually looked like he knew that this was a huge goal for the organization, not just for himself, but for everybody. And everybody kind of, glommed into the scrum. And it looked like genuinely this was a team that was appreciative of what just happened and the opportunity in front of them. And then I think of Quinn Hughes, who obviously has been dealing with a ton of injury prior to the Four Nations, coming out of the Four Nations. What did he play that game? Like 29 minutes or something like that in his first game back. And I, not to shift conversations here, but I always go through because I'm one of the voters of the major awards. And I start, well, it depends on what the award is. For the Norris, I do it with defensemen. I think I've told you guys this story where I'll pull a handful of guys, former NHL defense, some of them Norris Trophy winners that I trust, and I break it down in a 5-part segment over the course of the year because specific to the Norris, I think that's important. It's not just about the point getter. Anyway, I'm looking at my heart ballot and I can't look beyond Quinn Hughes. Not at the top of the list, obviously. You got to put 5 names down. And without injury, he'd be comfortably in my top 5. And that's saying a lot when you look at McKinnon, you look at Draisaitl, Connor Hellebuck probably deserves acknowledgement there. Nikita Kucherov having another hell of a year. So, this Vancouver team is an interesting one. And we look in the East at the standings and the battle, and then you look at the West, and it's as intense or more so between Calgary, Vancouver. Utah's a hell of a story right now, and the St. Louis Blues won't go away. So we'll see if the switch has been flipped, as I said earlier, around the Vancouver Canucks, because they're showing little signs that it has, but there's still plenty of hockey left.
One piece of news today, Aiden Hill inks a 6-year extension with Vegas. He was a pending U. That was some work that had to get done. The goalie market, I feel like we've kind of seen how things are settled. A lot of guys with 5x5-ish, if they're platoon guys. Better than a platoon, you can get bumped up a bit. So 6.25 for the Stanley Cup winning netminder. I have been lobbying hard, and I don't think it's hard to get anyone on my side. And I think everyone's on the same page. This is the summer you drop an 8-year extension on Dustin Wolf's desk with 1 year left at like $900,000 and Arbright's next summer.
Yeah.
How do you begin to see what a Calder candidate should get in net? Because it's a small body of work, but it's also a career of dominating every league he's played in.
But if you're Dustin Wolf, why would you do that? Like, why would you take that mega deal?
Because you're an injury away from losing $60 million.
Yeah, but you're also 2-3 years away from perhaps making $100 million.
Yeah.
I mean, that's and that's a very individual thing, as I'm sure Rhett would tell you. Again, to reflect on Ferraro, he always said he hated going into the final year of any contract because of what you just said, the uncertainty, the lack of security, and knowing that you've got millions and millions and millions of dollars at stake. There it is. Just sign the contract. But I'll tell you what, the intestinal fortitude of some of these kids and their player representatives is off the charts. They just have no issue betting on themselves. But if I were Calgary, 100%, that's the approach I would take. Why not? I mean, it looks the early evidence in this kid is that he's going to be really good for a long period of time. So if he's willing to lock in that long, then try and get it done.
So would you say between Hill and the Ullmark Swayman deals would be a reasonable ending spot, or do you think he could ask for even more?
Hard to ask for more, and then throw Jake Ottinger into that equation too, right? Like just those guys that have proven more than Dustin Wolf to this point of his career. And, I think it was Ken Hitchcock told me a bazillion years ago, and it was in reference to defense, but I applied to goaltending, not the same number of games, but Hitch said to me once, you don't know what you have in an NHL defenseman until that guy has played 300 NHL games. And then you've got a good sample size of the type of defenseman he is, where he's at, where he can still grow to. And I don't know what that number is in starts for NHL goalies. I don't. I'm sure the goalie gurus do, but I apply it positionally, just because you don't know. And mistakes can be made in a big way when it comes to locking down goalies. So maybe keep them hungry for a little bit longer and see how that plays out.
I jumped on your Rhett. Sorry, did you have something there?
Well, I was just going to say that the one thing Wolf has always had is the I have to prove it attitude. And if you give him that, does it change? How do you, there's always, right? Like, I don't know. He doesn't come across that way to me. Like he's going to put his feet up and coast, but he has always had I have to prove it.
And you know what, Rhett? That dates back to, I want to think about this. We played a friendly tournament in LA, and I believe Wolf was on the LA Junior Kings. So we're talking like Bantam AAA hockey. And the Whitby Wildcats made the trek. Pat Brisson organized. Craig Johnson's kid was on that team. Rob Blake's kid was on that team. Nelson Emerson, like go down the list, right? All those LA Kings players. And I'm standing beside Brisson, and we're watching. Brendan Brisson would have been on that team. We're watching these kids play, and Wolf was in net. And Pat goes to me, Dregs, he goes, this kid's going to be a real good NHL goalie. And I'm looking at him going, he's like 13 or 14, and he's like 5'8". Like, how can you conversely, Spencer Knight at the same age we played, actually might have been the Pee Wee tournament, the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. He played for Mike Richter, I think was coaching that team, the midfield, the Connecticut, whatever the hell the team was. Spencer Knight was like 6'1" when he was like 13 years of age. And we're looking at that kid and going, of course he's playing in the NHL. Like, look at him, So Wolf has been on the radar for a long, long time. So here's hoping it works out for him.
Yeah, interesting. Those two will be tied together forever. World Junior teammates for 2 years.
Yeah.
Wolf backed them up 2 years. One was a top half of the first round, and the other was 4 picks from not being drafted at all. It's a fun one for Flames fans to look at. Okay, Dregs. Hey, thanks a bunch. Have a great weekend. We appreciate all the insight, and I hope the Oilers aren't upset with anything factual we said about them today.
Well, my only focus moving forward for the rest of this day, because I'm not looking at social media, is the 4 big beefy Delmonicos that are going on the grill.
Smoking, boys. Love it. Enjoy.
Okay, fellas, have a great weekend.
All right, there's Darren Dreger, TSN Insider, joining us on the Crystal Waters hotline. Hey, you're a barn burner customer? Need a new hot water heater, air conditioner, furnace? You get discounts and upgrades in up to $1,000 in value. Crystal Waters has a solution for all budgets, financing, and affordable payment plans. Again, their crystal clear choice for home comfort is Crystal Waters Plumbing and Heating. 403-219-4100 or at crystalclearcalgary.com. You're traveling man, Rat. When are you leaving Penticton? Because you're from the west to the east pretty quick here.
I know. I got to get to Detroit on Monday, so I don't know what to do. Can't decide if I should send the shoveler home with. I got all the family out here. But if we win tonight, then we play tomorrow. And if we win tomorrow, play on Sunday.
That's a tight turn.
Yeah.
Monday, I'll tell you what we're going to be. Jack is going to be sleeping in, sawing logs on the new throw pillows you're bringing back to the couch. We are not doing a morning barn burner on Monday, but fear not. We'll have the Boom Cat back. He and I will be live from Cowboys Casino. I don't know if you've seen it, Red, at the casino. They built a little nice sports lounge with these really comfortable recliner screens everywhere.
Yes. I
Yes.
sat there, watch games with Corey Sarich and Dana Merzen.
Well, we're doing it again Monday, and we are doing it with a couple alums. This time, Joel Otto, who still looks like he could bench press a Buick, as well as Cochrane's own Mason Raymond. They're going to be doing the watch party, Flames and Leafs. Our show will be a pregame edition of Flames Leafs. Leafs reeling a little. It's not quite Edmonton hot, but that was a tough loss to the Panthers last night for them. And, of course, we'll get you set for that puck drop at 5 with a live edition of Barn Burner. We encourage you to come down to the legendary Cowboys Casino Sports Lounge. Any quick Joel Otto, Mason Raymond stories?
Oof, not so much Mason Raymond. I hated playing against Otts when he was a Flyer.
Oh, so you would have played against him a bunch because, of course, he was on the 89 team here, and you didn't play till 96, but he did make it that much longer.
Oh, yeah. He was a big moose in front of the net. With that big Legion of Doom team. Oh, God, they were all big. It was painful.
He is a monster. You'd see what he was coaching the Hitmen a few years ago, and you're like, this guy looks like he can still play. It's like, this guy's going to be in his 60s. That's crazy.
Big man.
Oh. Anyway, he'll be much nicer to you on Monday than he would have been back as a Flyer, I'm guessing. Nicer to everyone. Yeah. Would have been a good Flyer.
It up.
Green beer. We'll have fun. St. Patty's Day should be a blast. Jack, you going to get annihilated, or what's the story here? The C-Train's right there.
Oh, baby.
We'll see. We got RJ coming in. Jack might just be a complete degen. Chance to win $1 million. That's something we're going to have to loop you in on, friends, because Service Credit Union, they're doing their thing again where they're like, hey, $1 million sounds good, right? Well, here's how, here's why, all the details you need to know with man, like $1 million, that changes everything, Raz. I don't think I'd show up on Monday.
No, I'd go spend some of it. Go spend some of it.
The Service Credit Union Big Share Contest in full swing. Your chance to win $1 million just by saving money. Anyone can enter, become a service and saving, become a service member, start saving. Every $500 you put in, it's another 5 entries into the Big Share Contest. It ends April 30, 2025. There's a skill test required. For more rules, service.ca/win. Someone's going to win $1 million. Love it. More entries when you invest in a registered account like a TFSA or an RRSP. Also set up your paycheck for automatic deposit. That gets you bonus entries. On and on and on. Find out more at service.ca/win or stop by one of the many locations around the province. What's the weekend like, Jack? What do we got going on here? I got a Pinder report for you, and then you're going to be like loose.
Yeah, I'm debating whether or not I'm going to sit at the top of the Saddle Dome tonight.
Okay.
Might go to the game. And then I don't know. I don't really have any plans.
I kind of feel like this game tonight could be like a massive statement about never counting this team out, or just a crushing defeat where you get yarded 6-0. You're like, it's the Avs. We move along. Maybe there's middle ground, but if I had to pick 2 outcomes, those would kind of be the 2.
Dustin Wolf better make a statement if that's what he's the only one that can.
Yeah. Fair enough. Okay. Pinder report time. We'll get into some of the news of the day and some other things around the NHL. People keep sending us in these massive biggest blank in the world from small towns around the prairies as well. Can't stop that. It is for our good friends at Village Honda, your dealership for life, located up in the Northwest Auto Mall. Here's the thing. Their $1 million buy-in event is back. They want to buy your pre-owned vehicle, even if you don't buy theirs. So if you're looking to sell or you've got a lease to return to another dealership, just swing by and get a free appraisal at Village Honda first. Payment within 24 hours, competitive trade and buy-in values, and best of all, easy and stress-free. You can begin the appraisal process online at villagehonda.com. All right, it is game day. Rhett, what's going on at FlamesNation.ca? Let's have a peek. Writers writing, piking. As well, here's the thing. We've got clarity. This was from earlier this morning. What should the Flames do at center if Michael Backlund misses time? We do know he's going to miss time. It's week to week. We do know that Connor Zary is suspended for the next 2 games. There's going to be a lot more heavy lifting for Nazem Kadri and Morgan Frost and Kevin Rooney, and Dryden Hunt's back in the fold. So whether he plays center on the 4th line and you elevate Rooney, or you see Sharon Govich slide to the middle and Hunt joins a wing somewhere, we'll see later today. The standings show the Flames holding the final wild card by merely a game played.
That's tight.
That game played is against Colorado. We're at tonight. Vancouver is in action tomorrow against Chicago. You'd rather play Chicago than Colorado right now. That's I'm comfortable in that statement. And if you notice it, all the anger we had off the top of the show about the Oilers, they've been passed by the Kings now. They're third in the Pacific, and the Kings hold a game in hand. Go get them, Rob Blake. As for the Avalanche, the opponent tonight, they are up to third in the Central. It feels like they're on a collision course with Dallas, which is going to be maybe one of the best first-round series you'll ever get to watch. Winnipeg's going to be tough to reel in. Here's how they line up. Lehkonen, McKinnon, Natchez on the top line. Drouin and Nichushkin now centered by Brock Nelson, the new addition. Charlie Coyle, Joel Kiviranta, and Ross Colton, the nice third line. And the fourth line, Jack Drury, who they got from Carolina with Parker Kelly, and Calgary boy and Cup winner, Logan O'Connor. Blue line, they made some changes here as well, bringing in Ryan Lindgren. He's on the second pair with Josh Manson, who's missed a bunch of time, but now back and healthy. Taves and Makar, of course, the top pair. And Gerard and Malinsky are your 5-6. They also brought in Eric Johnson, and they've got some other options on the blue line. In net, full reload over the course of the year. They've locked down the woods, right? They've got Blackwood and Wedgwood. So
Outdoorsman.
They also have Miles Wood as well, who's a spare forward. They got all the wood. Full lockdown on wood in Colorado. Injuries right now, Poolman and Gabe Landeskog. We don't know if he'll ever play again. But if he does, there'll be no cap hit in the playoffs, so don't expect it before then. Avs are what you think they are. Top 10 in scoring, shots on net. Power play is actually only 12th, but they're on a heater right now, 6-0-1 in their last 7, and the Flames will have their hands full. Out east, Panthers opened up a bit of a gap on Toronto last night with that victory they had. Leafs fans a little upset today. That was their chance to move into a tie for first place and hold a game in hand. Now it's look more and more like they'll be in the 2-3. Devils got another big win, of course, over the Edmonton Oilers. They're not going away. They were skidding earlier, but now put together back-to-back quality wins. Flames hold their first rounder. And the battle at the bottom, Red. Senators, Blue Jackets, Rangers, Habs, Wings, and Bruins. What do you see happening here?
I don't know. I love the Gaudreau story with the Columbus thing. There's a definitely something about that. Mm-hmm. Ottawa, I want in.
I think they're in too. You look
but
at
the only team that I don't really want, the way it looks like that. I don't care if Boston gets in. I'm
agree.
Out. Detroit, I'd be the rest of them. I'm okay with. Rangers, original 6. I think they'd be scary just with Shesterkin for a first round opponent. Montreal's a nice story because they're the Habs.
Last year, the Rangers won the President's Trophy, and limping in were Washington with this incredible goal differential, and they got totally pumped. It could be Washington, New York again in the 1 against 8, the 1 against Wildcard 2. No one saw it coming. Like, nobody saw the Rangers' awful fall coming. Nobody saw the Capitals winning the East easily. Like, you look, they got a 9-point cushion on Florida. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Like
they've been that good. They and Winnipeg, true shocking seasons.
Pittsburgh's going to show up on the bottom there soon.
Gross. Yeah, Tristan Jerry's ruining this thing for them. They recalled him from the American Bleeping League, and he is back, Jack.
It's been unreal. Stopping everything. They won 3 in a row.
So dumb. Yeah, just to get right out of a top 5 pick. Just idiotic.
How do you feel about the Devils without Hughes? Like, are we?
I was down on them, and then they just had back-to-back quality wins. Like Jake Allen's been really good for them. He's always good in that 1B role. And they got no Hamilton, no Hughes. That sucks. But I don't like them to win the division. I absolutely like them to finish ahead of Columbus, New York for the 3 spot.
I think they've got enough of a gap there that it's
it's 8 points.
I don't like the injuries they're dealing with, but they got a lot of points built in.
Aiden Hill, new deal with the Vegas Golden Knights. We mentioned that during our chat with Dreger. He broke the news. 6x6 in a quart. Not too shabby. And that comes in above a lot of those little dusty or less cup goalies that we're seeing a lot of 5x5, 5.25, 5.25, 5x4.75 for Lankinen, Decord, You see the Logan Thompson and money. It's that's a nice little bit of work. I'm surprised Vegas let it go this long, but also at the same time, it never really feels like a threat. Guys don't really leave there. If you offer to pay them, they stay.
That's a good spot. It's, I mean, I like it for both. Yep. Hill's got to be happy. Lots of dough in the bank now.
And a cup ring there already. Connor Bedard got teed up last night. Did you see this? He got a 10-minute misconduct for chirping the ref. He's had a really tough year. They got beat by the Sharks, who were not good. He was not on the score sheet. He had to sit in the box for 10. And let's watch the post game, because there's been a tough year for the young fella who's going to be an absolute star.
Or non-tripping call, or was it once you got back to the bench?
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably when I got to the bench. I feel like the play was still going on.
Did you think what you said was that egregious?
No, I didn't think it was too crazy. But, I mean, obviously I'm not. He's a ref, so he gets to make that call. So you gotta live with it.
Were you surprised to be sent to the box?
A little, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you don't really, expect that, but it happens. So yeah.
How tough is that, sitting there for 10 minutes while your team's chasing a 1-goal lead like that?
Yeah, obviously it's not too fun. So I got to be smarter with my words there, and obviously I'm supposed to be out there in those situations. So it's frustrating to have to watch.
That's a guy ready for the offseason, right?
Something's got to change there. I mean, he looks like a little boy, and I don't mean that as a slight, but doesn't he look like? And he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. He's got a. Does it look like a kid that's second year in the NHL having fun and a hell of a skill set? Like, not at all.
It looks like, this teenager is the guy that's supposed to fix this franchise that's done a lot of poor decision making in the last decade. It's a lot.
Yeah,
like,
here,
they have not surrounded him with, like, I guess if you could,
but he's got to take it. Sorry, I jumped on you there, but I know what you're going to say, that he's not surrounded by guys that can help him. He's not, and they've done a piss poor job of it. And they changed the coach, useless. But on the other side, you're a kid. You can go have some fun. Yeah. Like, you don't have to take everything so seriously, right? Like,
this has been tough. Yeah, and I also think, like, just put him in a spot to succeed. Like, that's your job as the GM. And I know they tried. I think they were really in on Jake Gensel, and there's other guys they've tried to bring in, but no one's going to go there until you're good again. And you haven't exactly. This isn't the finishing touch on a rebuild. It kind of was like rock bottom. They finished dead last and picked first.
You know what? For Bedard and that franchise, I hope they get a top 3 pick, and I hope that pick is one hell of a player, because Chicago, when that team's good, is a great spot for hockey. And I think if they can bring someone else in, maybe Bedard can stop thinking that it's his issue and just go out and play. Like, have someone else there to help him out, young guy, build. It'd be a way better spot for, obviously. But I'm cheering for the Hawks to fail miserably this year and get a good pick.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to be a problem. They're going to be picking high. Let's go to tonight's schedule. Friday night, some good games here. I really like the color sequencing here, Rhett. We got Wings and Canes, Oilers and Islanders. So you've got the red, white, and black teams against each other. Then you got the blue and orange teams playing each other. Dallas, Winnipeg should be fun. Top 2 teams in the Central Division. We told you all morning about the Avs and Flames. I haven't looked at 365's money line odds, but I'm assuming the Avs are heavy favorites with all the center news we've seen over the last 48 hours for the Flames. Nashville in Anaheim, those teams are ready for golf season. And Utah trying to remain in this wild card hunt. They missed 2 of their best defensemen for half the year. They are in Seattle tonight. Pick another one aside from the Flames you'd watch here.
Oh, the Dallas, Winnipeg for sure. Right?
Yeah.
Like, no questions.
Yeah. By the way, I am looking at the money line tonight. Avs minus 225. It's a pretty considerable favorite. We'll get to that Bet365 segment in a moment. Calgary Stampeders are doing something cool. We heard about it in the winter. They're starting an annual tradition. Normally, Stampede comes to town. Stampeders go on the road. Get them out of town. Hotels are expensive for visiting teams. I'm sure there's all kinds of excuses why. But what we were missing out on every year is the chance during Stampede Week to showcase our football team.
There's the horn, and there's
Touchdown Stampeders! In an all-star wrap-up to the greatest outdoor show on earth.
And there's your ball game.
Stampede Bowl, Rhett.
I like it.
They got to lean into it. They're doing it. And I think it's going to be the Blue Bombers this year and the next couple. They're kind of, because you know what, the Riders games, that's got to feel. Labor Day is always Edmonton. That's got to feel. I don't know that they have anything special with BC, but it's a Western rival, and they're gonna go at this thing for a few years. I think it's gonna be an absolute hit.
It'll be huge. I think it's a great idea for them.
So did you say they were avoiding Stampede?
Always,
Yes.
always have the Stampeders out of town.
Why would they do? Yeah.
Well, I'm sure some of the fellas might have gotten some trouble, but I think you're professionals and you have a chance to showcase your team.
Yeah, like this is a professional sports league in the biggest week of the city.
Yeah. And again, logistically, I'm sure it's like, oh, we don't have a hotel room, but we'll figure it out. Like, sorry, you have a chance to have a
Plan
huge
ahead.
crowd and showcase the CFL. And they have figured it out. Good for them.
I like that horse too. The little,
tailgate, Banter, tailgate, meat, origin beer,
some
tailgate.
of those Delmonicos that Dreger.
Oh,
come on now.
Greg's going to be fired up for that one. Thursday night, that is sneak peek night before Stampede kicks off. So congrats to the Stamps launching that. I think it'll be a huge success. Steph Curry's good at basketball, Rhett. Did you know that?
Did you know he's
Here comes Curry, hit a three, but that's it. Diving for it, Monk. Curry thought about three. He'll put up a three. There it is! Number 4,000! A shot for the ages from a player.
4,000 3-pointers, which is a few.
I listened to I don't even know what it was. And they talked about one summer he didn't shoot from outside the arc.
He didn't.
So no 3-pointers the whole summer.
Really?
I don't know what. Yes.
Wild.
Yeah.
He's good at it. The best
Yeah,
ever.
apparently.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Crazy. 4,000 trays, man.
This team's on a heater too right now. 13-1 in the last 14 since trading for Butler.
Jimmy Bucket's out there. All right. This has been your NBA update. Northern Pike. Where are we going? We're traveling to another prairie city today. I kind of like these. I don't know why. This is from Braden. Hey, this is Roshan Sands, Alberta at Buffalo Lake. Largest northern pike in Alberta. Look at the size of it.
Beauty. It's a big fish. It's got the 5 of diamonds too.
There is a 5 of diamonds there. Good eyes on you. Yeah. Huge. Do you like eating pike? It's kind of a pain in the ass to get the meat off, but it is good meat. Isn't it?
It's real good. Just somebody else can fillet it, please.
Yeah. When I was a kid, my dad took me on a fishing trip, and the guides would just like, and they're not trying to get too close to those bones because they're everywhere. Just hope the fish is big enough. Fry it up on the shore. Oh, unreal.
This might have to be our next bracket we do. We get a bunch of these, and then we figure out what the best small town
hell yeah
thing is.
Totally.
Then we go there.
And yes. Oh my God. Jack just had an amazing idea.
Yeah, that's a road trip.
Yeah, that is a road
Wow.
trip. Boom loves road trips.
Loves them.
But he loves road trips.
Yeah, he's in a real conundrum if he's going with us.
Well, multiple vehicles. That's fine. We'll get set up. I love that idea. By the way, the candy bracket returns next week. Don't sleep on that. We're going to be, we got the full bracket ready to go. If you missed it earlier this week.
Yeah, I'll show it at the end of the show.
Yeah, huge performance from two play-in candidates. The Blue Whales eked one out, and I think the Dinosaurs just destroyed their opponent, which is good to see. Finally, you have a favorite pasta, Rhett? That tag I know you like.
I do like the tag.
This guy is a favorite pasta, but he's trying to tell people what it is, and they don't really get it. Let's go.
This shit, Fettuccine Alfredo.
What did you have?
Fettuccine Alfredo. But why y'all laughing? Why are you laughing?
Fettuccine Alfredo?
How the Fettuccine? FedExin. Why are you turning red? It's not, bro. Am I dead? I saying it wrong?
Yes.
What?
She just looked at us. It's fettuccine.
That's not how you spell fettuccine, bro.
Fettuccine.
Fettuccine.
I love
like
Fettuccine.
Yeah.
It is good.
That one buckled Jack and I today. That is your Pinder Report on a Friday for Village Honda. The new 2025 Touring Hybrid CRV is now in stock. 2-motor hybrid powertrain, Econ mode, Eco Assist, real-time, all-wheel drive, tops in its class, and built for Calgary. Comes with Honda's sensing safety tech and 19-inch black aluminum alloy wheels. And for a limited time, $1,000 Honda bonus, and qualified Honda owners receiving an additional $750 loyalty bonus. Check them out. It's your dealership for life up in the Northwest Auto Mall, Village Honda. And we are going to be out there pretty soon. Watch your inboxes for you Village Honda regulars, you lifers for the dealership for life. Okay, that's done. Very good. We'll get to our bets. How are you feeling about this stretch here? Colorado tonight, I'm willing to cut this team slack. You're up against a cup contender. You're going to be down bodies, but then you head on the road, and they've got 4 here. Toronto, New York, back-to-back, and then you go New Jersey, Islanders.
They haven't established themselves good enough with a full lineup to get comfortable, and with pieces missing, I worry. As good as Wolf is, you don't want to be so
dependent.
I don't know, but yeah, that's the word. Dependent on a massive goaltending run. Like that's what you're doing now.
Yeah,
and with Backlund in and with Zeri in and without injuries, it was close. It was real tight anyway. And now you're starting to see some guys out. And the problem is, yes, Colorado would be a tough game no matter what. With full lineup, it was hard to beat that team. But there's a lot of good teams you have to play. Like you don't just get to pick the bottom of the barrel and go, well, we'll play Chicago and San Jose. But even if you did, they can't score. They can't score. And got Sharangovich, Frost. Well, there's no one that's producing as much as we need offensively.
Yeah, Nazem's been excellent. Surprised they'd use him in the shootout the other night. But yeah, it looks like an anemic offense because it is one. It's the 32nd team in goals for at even strength. The power play has been surprisingly good, but it's time that, like, I don't know. Part of me is like, this is going to look like the Tampa, Florida, Carolina swing where you went 3 games and scored 1 goal.
Yep.
But the other part of me is like, man, like you watch them against Dallas, they really competed their asses off. You watch them against Montreal, they competed their asses off. The work ethic, I don't worry about. It doesn't mean they're perfect, but it's way down the list of things I worry about. And so Wolf's going to have to be great. That's kind of my feel. And if he's not, this could look ugly.
I 100% agree. Vladar, we had a couple good games there. So if Wolf does falter, I guess you can go to him. But your goaltending, that's your team. It's your team is. You're only going as far as your goaltenders take you, because I trust the work ethic. I don't trust the offensive results that they're going to score you enough goals to win you games.
Yeah, 100%. Are you getting enough good sleep at night, Jack? Because I know the couch here. You get covers with the throw pillow.
Yeah, I've had some bad sleeps recently.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to send you to Outdoor Dental and Dr. J. We're going to get you to take this snoring treatment. It's pretty cool. See, at Outdoor Dental, they have this incredible laser, the Soleil laser, and they use it for dental work, but it also can help fix snoring issues. I don't know if you know that. It's kind of crazy. Very multifaceted laser, excuse me. I went in. That's not bringing the homeless off the street to get dental work done. That's me last summer, looking like a caveman. Did the snoring treatment. They take the laser back and forth over your soft palate for 15 minutes, 2 15-minute sessions, pain-free, and that tightens up the soft palate tissue in the back of your it's making that noise. Better sleep for those around you. It's a win for everyone. Outdoor.dental for more information on that treatment. No needles, no drills, and no stress. The Solea laser treatment, an excellent solution for people who have dental phobia. And of course, it does the snoring treatment as well. For more information, check them out at outdoor.dental. Bets of the day before we show you the bracket and get you on your way. It is Flames Avs tonight. It is a homecoming for the best defenseman on planet Earth, I think. I am all over Cale Makar for the Bet365 bets of the day. Breaking news coming in for Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner. Every face-off, hat-trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365, an official partner of the NHL. Download the Bet365 app and use the code NATION to get in the game. Must be 19 or older. Please play responsibly. All hail Cale. He has 12 points in his last 6 games. Yes, there's a 6-point game in there. 2 points tonight against a shorthanded, injury-depleted Calgary Flames group. We'll pay plus 230. And if you can somehow, some way score, that's plus 280. Maybe they fool us all again, Rhett, but it does not feel like it's going to be a great night for the Calgary Flames if the Avs are doing their thing.
Well, they're going to be under siege no matter what.
It seems that way.
Yes, 100% they
are. Other odds from the game, we'll read them to you. Money line, minus 225 for the Avs, making the Flames plus 185. That's a big number for a home team, but again, injuries in there. The over-under is set at 5.5, plus 105 for the under, minus 125 for the over. And the puck line has Colorado minus 1.5 at plus 120. Prove us wrong, Flames. You've done it for 5 months. 1 to go. Candy bracket.
Our mindset hasn't changed. Easily go sideways and down as it could go. Continue to be in a playoff spot. I mean, I'm not convinced.
Think about the vibes. If you head out on the road with somehow you pull a win out here. You probably got an off day tomorrow. You fly Sunday into Toronto. They're reeling. Like, it's on the ice. This game is not on the paper. It's not on the spreadsheets. If they somehow find a way to get points tonight, tip your cap. Over 500 on the homestand and a crucial Eastern Road swing coming up. Candy bracket. We'll get back to it next week. Let's take a peek. Make sure to be ready to be voting next week. We've got some heavyweight first-round matchups. A lot of people thinking it might be Skittles' year. The defending champs are the Cola Bottles. And we did have the play-in round earlier this week. Dinosaurs in to face Fuzzy Peaches as the 15 seed, and the Blue Whales eked one out against the High Chews. They, the 16 seed, completing the Sweet 16. No wine gums in the tournament. People are already mad in the comments today about that. So sorry about the lack of wine gums. Rhett, enjoy your travel. Best of luck to the incredibly large son of yours that's playing the games. We will check in with you next week as you will move from British Columbia to Michigan. And we encourage everyone to join us at Cowboys Casino at their sports little hang area with the comfy recliners on St. Patrick's Day. The little lounge, the old sports lounge. Mason Raymond will be there. Joel Otto, Boomer, myself. 3:30 Barn Burner Monday. We'll see you there with a pint. Let's get to some super chats, Jack. This is where you say something.
There you go.
JP, $5. Frost hasn't been a world beater, but Huska has anchored him with Pospisil and Sharon Govich. Zeri Frost Coronado. Give the skilled players. I can accept that argument. And here's the thing. Excuses are going to be out the window here. He's now their number 2 center. He's going to have, I would think, a different looking surrounding cast. They did try Zeri with him a little, but it also was with Sharon Govich. It is that fine line between earning stuff and being given stuff. He's supposed to be a driver of sorts here.
Yeah, that's exactly like you can make other players better.
That'd be great. Please do.
Yep.
And he's one of the guys that needs contracts this summer. He's an RFA, Ball's an RFA, and then I think you'll probably see longer term extensions with the likes of Coronado, Zary, Wolf. That would at least be what I think the Flames should be doing. Other super chats coming in today for the youth centers of Calgary.
That's all.
That's it. That's all. Morgan Frost, have a great week. Wow us all. Earn that big raise. Arbrights this summer.
Yeah, there's lots of cap space. You can go get some of it.
By all means, go take some of that money. Go get it. We're all cheering for you, bud. Flames and Avs tonight. Enjoy the game if you're going. Otherwise, Afterburner tonight will be Cammie and Kent. And we will have you live at Cowboys Casino, 3:30 Mountain on Monday. Hope you can join us. It's St. Patrick's Day. Have fun. Be safe this weekend. See you, buddies.